So if it's your first time on this channel, welcome. And if you've been here before, definitely welcome back. You guys have been giving me some really great ideas on different projects that you want to do and different things that you want to see and watch me implement. And I have taken all that into account, and I have a running list of all of the things that you guys want to see, and I'm trying my best to get through them as as quickly as humanly possible. You're also asking me to learn entire frameworks and entire stacks, and not that I have a problem with that at all. It will take me some time. So when you ask me to, hey, can you do this in React? Yeah, that's gonna be a minute because I've never even looked at React. Okay, what I've decided to do was, as I go through this list of different things that you guys want to see, I am going to create an entire separate playlist. And this is going to be a to-do playlist where I just pick different stacks. I will see if I can get it to work, and then I will then decide what I want to do with it after that. But the point of this playlist is really just to be open-ended, so there really won't be an end to it. It'll just kind of continue on until either I've learned everything there is to learn in the universe about web development, or I just get tired of it and decide I don't want to do it anymore. Okay. The point of the to-do list in web development, I have found that making a to-do list really does help when it comes to learning how to develop. Meaning, everything that you could possibly need, you could make your to-do list either as simple as you want it to be or as complex as you want it to be. You can throw whatever you want to do at it, and then that's a really good way to solidify the different processes that you're learning, the different functions that you're learning, the functionalities of how things are working. And I know you can roll your eyes, to-do list. Fine, that's on you. For me, this is the best way that I learn. So thanks to you, I have been learning Livewire. And honestly, I've been trying to stay away from it just because initially it felt like some sort of hype. But the more and more I got into it, I realized how if you never really want to work with JavaScript, then this might be a really solid solution for you. There's so much magic going on that you only really need to know a basic few functions to get something to be reactive. And that's really all that Livewire does. It allows you to do that while still leveraging Laravel. You get all the basics of the CEO optimization and just, Laravel, all of Laravel's goodness. It just sprinkled in a little bit of JavaScript without bringing in an entire new framework, or a really big framework, I should say, in order to be able to do that. This just works on top of Laravel. So let's see what I did here. First of all, we can create a to-do. So if we go to the input up here, type a bunch of stuff in, press enter, and then it's right here. And I'm sure I could have put a flash message in there too. I just haven't really had the time to do that, but you see it right there. Now, not only can you do that, you can also edit it. So if you click on it, that opens up, press enter, and now it's updated. You can also set it as complete. And what that'll do is it'll bring it down here and add it to this to-dos done list. You can even delete from up here. Okay, and that updates that list. And you can also delete it from here. And that updates that. You can even change your completed to-dos back to incomplete, and it'll fall in line wherever it is. These are listed by the latest. So whenever this one was made, that's just where it falls into the line based on the rest of the list. And that's it. But look at how much functionality we got working, and all we did was just add some Livewire components. So there's also validation on here. So if I went up to this input and pressed enter, you'd see the to-do field is required. And also if I did it here, and let's say I got rid of all of that, there's validation on that as well. The to-do field is required. And also for the done, you can also edit those. To-dos done can also be edited. Fantastic. So why don't we go ahead and whip up a new Laravel install and build this out. So you're going to go into whatever folder it is that you're using to build this, your project folder. And then since I have the Laravel installer installed globally, I'm just going to do Laravel new, Livewire, to-dos, and then I'm going to go ahead and throw the jet flag on that. Okay, so we will be using 0 for Livewire and no for Teams. Fantastic. Now that that's done, let's go ahead and CD into our favorite text editor. Livewire to-dos folder, and then the text editor. Fantastic. Okay, so the first couple of things that I want to do is, first of all, open up some terminals. And while those are going as slowly as possible, let's go to the .env file and make sure that we have a database set up. So mine is just going to be Livewire to-dos. The username is root and the password is blank. And the other thing that I want to do is head down to the webpack.mix.js, and I want to disable the notifications so that we don't get that annoying error. Okay, so we can just put that right down here. And also to spell disabled correctly. So before we get into deep, what I want to do is I want to make a model, a factory, well, we don't need controllers anymore. So a model, a factory, and the migration for these to-dos here. So let me open up another terminal, and then I'll open it up so we can see. And then in here, we'll run php make model, call it to-do. We'll add a migration and a factory. That should be good. Press enter. So let's head over to the migration and start working on that. We can close this. A to-do. Okay, so in here we only really need 2 fields. The first one is going to be a string. And we're just going to call it item. And the next is going to be a Boolean. And we'll just say completed, and then we'll just give it a default value of 0. And now we need to put these fields in our model. So we'll go to do, and in here we'll just do protected fillable equals an array, and then in the array we're gonna have item and completed. Okay, and we also need a semicolon at the end of this. Done. Okay, so let's go ahead and close up the migration, and then we can also close up the model, and we'll open up factories and work on that to-do factory. So this is going to be really simple. All we'll need to do in here is create those fields that we just made. So we'll say item equals this Baker sentence, and then for completed, we'll just make that a 0. And now if we head over to the database seeder, we can just uncomment this one and use it for the to-dos. Change this to to-do and factory 10, create. Fantastic. So let's open this up. And now we can run php artisan migrate seed. Okay, and now we can drop this, and we need to, well, we'll keep that back open. We need to run our server. And I think that we need to run our npm. Yep, we'll do npm install, and then we'll do npm run watch. The reason for that is even though we're not using Vue or anything like that, if you take a look at the resources views, we're going to be using the welcome blade to do all of our stuff for us, and we are going to be bringing in, it still needs to compile the CSS. So while that's installing, let's take a look at the routes web.php. This is what we're going to be using. We're just going to use the return view welcome, and then we'll put our components in that welcome page. Okay, so now we can close this out and this out. And it looks like I got some kind of an error already. Disable notifications. Did I not spell that right? I think. Let's take a look. Tech.mix. Of course I didn't spell that right. Okay, let's run npm run watch again. And hopefully that will compile correctly. Okay, we are running watch. No errors, good to go. Let's bring that down. Let's go ahead and refresh this and see where we are. Okay, cool. Just a basic Laravel install. Nothing to be afraid of. Okay, so we're going to get rid of all this. Back to the text editor. We can now close this. And we need to go to the app.blade.php. Sorry, the welcome page. It's been so long since I worked with only Laravel that I don't always remember much of what's going on with the Laravel front end as a front end. So let's go ahead and do a massive cleanup. I want to get rid of all of this. Yep, you too. And then we can go ahead and also get rid of this questionable login stuff. And then SVG can go. And then pretty much everything from here. And also this stuff, gone, gone, gone. And just to make sure that we didn't get rid of absolutely everything, let's say hi there. See what happens. Back. Refresh. Okay, looking good. Let's go ahead also. I want to bring in from the layouts app.blade.php. I want to bring in the config name, and I also want to bring in the CSRF token. Now, I couldn't find any documentation on any of this, but I do know that in Laravel, whenever you're setting a form, you need the CSRF token to at least be at the head and also with your form. So I didn't put it in the form. I just am going to put it here and just call it a day. And this we can get rid of. And then I also want to grab the style sheet and put that under here. Create another one of these. Under, and this I will call scripts. Bring in our app.js just in case. You never know. I might come back and maybe do something else to this, so I just like to have it. Open that up. Before we can actually start using Livewire in here, there are a couple of things that we do need to bring in. So if we head over to the Livewire documentation, let's go to the docs, and we don't need to require any of this stuff, but we do need to have this Livewire styles in this, put it under here, on this page. And then we also need the scripts at the bottom of the body tag. Now, so right in here is fine. And we are going to end up putting our components right in here. So let's take a look at the documentation and try to find out how to create a component, which is super easy. PHP artisan, make Livewire, blah, blah, blah. Let's go ahead and make this component. It's going to make us a component, and it's also going to make us a blade file. So let's go see what that looks like. Open this up. PHP artisan, make Livewire. And the first one, we'll just call it to-dos, and this will just be, well, maybe I'll say all to-dos. Okay, seems legit. Press enter. Component created. Great. Okay, so as you can see here, we have a class and we have a view. And if you take a look at how I typed in all to-dos, so this is the class. That's going to be our component in the view. They've set it up so that it just works right out of the box. Okay, so would you like to show some love? I would love to, but not right now. So we'll just say no. Okay, cool. First one made. So let's head up to, well, right here we have our blade file. So we can go ahead and open that up. And then we'll head up to, where did they put it? So now we have a new folder here called Livewire, and there's our component. So let's put this over, put it over here, and deal with it as it comes. So as you can see, it's rendering a function, or the function is render, and it's returning a view, and this is the view that it just made for us. Livewire all to-dos. And if we check on this all to-dos blade, we see that we already have some dummy text in here, and we can go ahead and uncomment that. Okay, so in work, do what you enjoy. Love it. Head over to the welcome blade, and now in here we're going to put so Livewire, and then we'll say all to-dos because that's our blade file. Close that out. We'll make sure that that compiles down. Head to the browser, and now we should be able to see that that blade file. This line of text is what we should see. Go back, refresh. Okay, Cool. So we have in work, do what you enjoy. So let's go ahead and start listing out these components. Head back to the text editor. Now we have to figure out how to actually get to-dos into this page. Go back to our handy dandy component, and there's a property. It's going to be a public property. We're going to call it to-dos. And also there's a function, public function, it's called mount. We are going to say this to-dos equals to-do. We'll just list them all out. And let's go ahead and import this to-do. So let's head back to this Livewire all to-dos blade. And now we can say in here, for each to-dos as to-do, and then we'll have a span tag, and in it we'll say to-do item. Okay, so now let's go back, refresh, and there we go. It doesn't look great, but it is there. So we have all of our to-dos listed. Fantastic. So now we are going to add a header, an h2 tag, and in it we'll put to-dos to do. For the classes, we're going to have a text, XL, font, semi-bold, T4, and PX of 4. This for each, we are going to open up a div, and we're going to add classes of flex, call, PX4, Y4, and space Y of 4. Open that up, and then we're going to take this for each, we're going to bring it up, and then instead of this span tag, we're going to have a div with the classes of flex and justify between, then another div. Then in this div, we are going to have another div, and the classes on this are going to be cursor, pointer. We're also just going to go ahead and display. We'll change this up a little bit later, but for now I just want to get the design right. So to do item, and then under this div, I'm going to have another div, and this one's going to have a button. The type will equal submit, and I'm just going to paste a bunch of classes in here just to give it that look. And then in here we'll just say complete. And then under this button, well, this button should be button. This button will be another button. Type equals button. This one is going to say delete. And here are the classes for that. Let's go back and see what it looks like now. Okay, so it's kind of starting to look like something. So before we get into the functionality of all this stuff, let's finish building this out. I might not be able to finish this episode today, but we'll get as much of it as we can done. So let's go ahead and work on this input. Head back to the text editor, and we are going to be needing another Livewire component. Let's open up our terminal, and then we're going to make another component and blade. So we'll arrow up, and this one we'll call it add to-dos. Drop that. Let's take a look at that blade file. Okay, so we have some more text in here. Let's go ahead and uncomment that. Let's add that to our welcome blade, and this will just copy paste, and here we'll say add to-dos, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at that component. Again, all it's doing is rendering. So that's the basic scaffolding that running that command gives you. Is just it starts with a render and then a view. So now let's head to the browser and make sure that we're getting that component. Okay, cool. So we are getting it. So now let's go ahead, add our styling to it, add to-dos. And in here, it's just going to be really simple. For this div, we're going to add some classes to it. So we'll have flex, all, item center, and MT4. Okay, now we can get rid of this text, and we'll put an input. We'll have a placeholder, and this placeholder is going to say do or do not, ... And underneath, we are going to add some validation item. And then here we're going to add span. It'll be a message. This is Laravel right here. So class, text, red 500 and MT2. Okay, so let's just make sure that we are getting this input box. Okay, so this is where things will get a little bit hairy. We want to add our to-dos to this list right here. So how we would do that, first, let's go to the add to-dos component, and we need a public function, or sorry, a public property, and we'll call it item. And then we need our mounting function, public function mount, and then we'll say this body equals an empty string. And we don't need to bring this into the render method. We just need to make sure that we have the mount function set up with that body. So add to-dos, let's go back to this add to-dos.blade.php. And this will be part of really, I think, what is the big draw for Livewire. In this input, there's something called wire model. We're going to model it after that item. Make sure I put item in here. To-dos, this item equals empty string. Back to this. So now this item, it's directly connected to this component. Item. Because it's public, it's available. So that's the first thing. And if you've used Vue.js, you know vModel, it's the same concept. And so let's do this. And let's try to type in here and see if it shows up. Back, refresh. And so now if we go ahead and type something in here, we can see it displayed right here because we have it a vModel. Now, as you may have noticed, there's a little bit of a delay on that. And if we check the documentation in here, the reason for that, if we go up to, I think it's actions. I think it might be under properties. Yeah, because that's a public property. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this. Okay, so this data binding, head down to debouncing input. By default, Livewire applies a 150 millisecond debounce to text inputs, and that's why we get the display. So you can change it to 500 milliseconds or whatever, and it'll still, if we open up the inspect tools and we head over to our network tab, every time we type in here, you'll see we get, it's that 500 milliseconds. So it's picking it up as an action and it's putting it through every 150 milliseconds, as you can see. And there are different ways to alter this timing. So you can change it to, it'll be 150 to start with. You can change it to 500. You can also do lazy, okay, so that it'll wait until you're done, and then you can defer it. There's, multiple ways of doing it. For our purposes, though, we are going to leave it just like it is. And the reason for that is because we can get rid of this. We are going to be attaching another action. Okay, so this will be wire key down enter equals, and then we're going to create a method or a function, and we're going to call it add to do. Because we have it key down enter, it has a set time of when it's going to do it. It's going to do it only when we press enter, not before. Okay, so let's head into the add to do's and create that function. Under mount, we'll say public function add to do. And then just like in the other parts of Laravel, we can treat these components as if they're controllers. So anything that we would think to do in a controller, we can just use in this component. For the most part, that's what I've come across. Until otherwise, I will let you know, but really that's all it is. Create. And then let's go ahead and import that. And then now for the create, we'll say item equals item, and then completed we'll just set to 0. This should probably be this item, because don't forget, we are now wired. We have a vModel, so anything that we type into that should theoretically be what gets created. Let's give that a try and see. Go back, refresh, and then we'll go ahead and try to type in go to sleep, enter. Okay, as you can see, we get two calls. So one is to set it and one is to send it. We don't have any errors, but if we refresh the page, we see that now that to-do that we just created is now in our list. A couple of things that I want to clear up in here. The first thing is we'll change the order in a bit, but for this. So there's another function in Livewire where after you've submitted the form, you can call this reset body. Now there's a bunch of different ways of doing this. If you had more fields and you wanted to reset all of them, then you wouldn't even have to put this, but, or I keep putting body, I don't know why, it's item. Okay, and this will just clear that from here. Now the other thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and list this all to-dos as latest. Here we can say latest and then get, and that'll change the order. And the other thing that we can do is go back to the add to-dos component. We want this list to update without refreshing the page, so we don't want to have to refresh it in order to see our new to-do. The way that you would do that is to emit an event. This is the Livewire way of doing it. Now, there are several ways to do events. This is the way that I've chosen. It works, and so we're going with that. When we add the to-do, we're going to say this, emit, to-do, added. And so now, since we're emitting an event, we need to listen to that event somewhere. And where we're going to listen to that event is in the all to-dos component, because we need for all of this to refresh. Under this public to-dos, we'll have public listeners equals, and then we'll just name that to-do added event in here. Okay, so now we need to define what to-do added means for the all to-dos component. And if we come under the mount function, we can say public function to-do added. And now all we need to do is just recall this mount, just sort of reset the state. So copy, paste, and now that event should be heard here, and we're returning all of the to-dos from the database. So now let's go back to the browser. We'll refresh. Okay, and as you can see, it's gone ahead and rearranged our to-do list order. So now we can say new to-do, enter. Now that should pop up right here. Fantastic. The other thing we need to do is, this will be the last thing that I do for today. If we press enter in that input field, we don't have any validation, and we need validation. We're just going to get a big error. Integrity constraint, because it cannot be null. Let's go ahead and do that validation. Since this is just a simple to do, we are going to just have some very basic validation. Okay, so let's go back to the add to dos component, and then we are going to call protected rules equal, just like Laravel. All that this is Laravel. Body, keep doing that. Say item equals, and then we'll just say required. Nothing too fancy. We just want to make sure it's not empty. And then we're going to do another protected. We're going to give it validation attributes. And this is basically where we can just customize the message. Item equals to do. In order for it to validate as we type, there's another function here that I came across called public function updated. So this is very much like Vue, where you have a lifecycle hook. So in here, we're going to put property name, and then we're going to say this validate only property name. This shouldn't be brackets. So since we have now the property name that we can inject, we can come down to the add to do, and instead of doing it like this, we can just say validated data equals this validate. And after that, we can say to do create validated data. And we already have the default of 0 for completed, so we don't even need to have that here. We didn't need it, but for educational purposes, I left it. Okay, so now we should have validation. So now let's go back, refresh. And now let's go ahead and try to press enter without putting anything. And now we have our validation. And we can go ahead and type something now. That gets updated. and then we can add it. Fantastic. Okay, so we managed to set everything up and add to-dos. I'm going to leave it there for now because I've run out of time. But in the next episode, we are probably going to be finishing. I think this is only going to be 2 parts. So I'll make sure to push all this code up to GitHub. I'm going to leave it there for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.